Welcome to the program. President Uhuru Kenyatta's tour of Ukambani continues today, with him touring Matu and Masinga this morning. The president says his government's development agenda will not be derailed by sideshows. The president said his administration has embarked on fulfilling the promises it made and is determined to transform the country for the benefit of all Kenyans. President Kenyatta said it was wrong for leaders to put the country in an endless state of politicking and protest at the expense of development.
Thank you. How old are you? Well done. Well done. You're working hard.
Now, the latest opinion poll conducted in Nairobi by the Center for African Progress indicates that Nairobi Senator Mike Sonko will be the next governor of Nairobi if elections were to be conducted today. Sonko leads his closest rival, Evans Kidero, although with a small margin. Sonko enjoys a 40% popularity compared to Kidero's 32%. Dagoretti South MP Dennis Waweru has 11%, while Margaret Wanjiru has 5%, and Johnson Sakaja 5% as well. Meguna is the last with 2%. And just to help us understand this poll and exactly how it was conducted, I'm now joined on set by Abel Onchari, who is the director of the Center for African Progress. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Maybe you can shed some light on exactly how you conducted this research, perhaps which areas and what was the scope of your research?
Yes, so what we did is called random sampling. So we prepared questionnaires and distributed to various sections of Nairobi. And we had a very large sample of 3,200 participants. These are the guys who approached, and they shared their opinions with us. We had a very comprehensive questionnaire with specific questions, both in English and Swahili, and they responded. The poll was conducted between the 7th and the 9th of this month.
Right.
It's very recent.
All right.
Yes.
And just taking a look at some of the figures, because I have them here,
yes.
The overall support we see from your report is that Mike Sonko enjoys a 40%.
That is correct.
Out of the people that you researched, the sample
yes.
that you researched, and Evans Kidero following with 32%, then Dennis Waweru coming there at a distant third at 11%. What would you say are some of the things influencing this kind of voting trends and popularity?
Now, what's happening is, okay, because we have a sitting governor, someone in office, is expected to perform very well in such opinion polls. But the problem is, Kidero has so many problems around him. Talk about the corruption scandal that touches on Supreme Court Justice, Tonui, and then there's the question of performance.
Right.
Nairobians think it's not performed. Now, Sonko has mastered the art of playing popularity politics. He pulls very serious stunts, and they've endeared him to Nairobians, especially those who dwell in low-income areas, slums.
Right.
You go to Mukuru Kwanjenga, most of the guys we talked to actually don't know anyone apart from Sonko. Who is your governor? Sonko. They don't know Kidero. Who is your president? Sonko.
But for the people you interviewed, it was spread out, not just in.
No. Yeah, we went to various parts of the county, and we have a problem of what we call tribal affiliation. If you go to a place like Kibera, for instance, Kidero has like 100% support. So as people who do research, we have to balance that. We have to go to all areas of the country to get a balanced poll.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at another aspect here, because you break it down in terms of the kind of the support they get from specific groups, and we see support among women. Mike Sonko enjoys 60%
that is
of support from the women, and Kidero following there by 20%. Dennis Waweru 9% from the women, and Margaret Wanjiru 2%.
Yeah,
from the women. We're not supporting our own.
It's unfortunate. It's always said that a lady's worst enemy is another lady. Well, you can say that from what Wanjiru is getting. Now, Sonko seems to be, again, understanding how Nairobi politics works out. When he goes to slums, he has some handouts he gives to mamas, you know. And they thank him for that. So when it comes to like, who do you think should be your next governor? The name that comes to the mind is Sonko. That is how he gets to become very popular. Last time he went to Mama Lucy Hospital.
Right.
And paid bills, maternity bills for like 100 women. Now, they remember that. They remember that very well. That is how he gets to perform very well.
Right.
Yes. There's a big difference between the other candidates and Sonko. He actually stands out.
And because of his support largely to this,
Yes.
the group of people who can't afford, who live less than $1, let's put it like that.
Yes.
And the next category here is support among the youth. Mark Sonko still leading, getting 44% from the youth, and Evans Kidero getting 27% from the youth. Dennis Waweru getting 15% from the youth. Margaret Wanjiru, would you say it's the same kind of pattern, getting the support basically because of the same, the kind of activities that they are doing?
Yes, okay. Sonko is different because he seems to cut across the board. Now, if you look at his tribe, I think his Kamba, I'm not very sure about that. There are very few Kambas in Nairobi, so they cannot propel him to his position.
So that is also an
factor.
aspect that is really
Yes.
affecting the trends.
Yes, he actually seems to be collecting votes from all tribes. So he's a different kind of politician.
Right.
Kidero seems to be getting support from just CORD supporters, non-Wiper CORD supporters. I'm sure you understand Wiper.
Right.
Yes. So Wiper supporters go to Sonko, and then the rest of the CORD guys go to Kidero.
All right.
And then, of course, there is the issue of Waweru. He's just a member of parliament for the Great South. So he's not been able to map himself in the county. No, so we'll have to find out what happens in the coming days
Right.
when he gets to like campaign vigorously. So now the figures you can compare, the ones of Kidero and Sonko, because Sonko campaigned
Right.
in the whole county last time. So
Right.
that
And we
is
speak
it.
about party politics, which is a big question now with regard to voting trends. Do we see a trend where people are associating with party in terms of the policies they stand for or are bringing out, or is it a candidature kind of a thing, of a support?
Now, for this particular position, party plays a role in the issue of Kidero, just Kidero. He seems to be getting support mainly from
All right.
CORD supporters.
All right.
Now, Sonko actually gets votes from CORD. Again, it's about tribe. That is Kenyan politics. You cannot run away from tribe.
Right.
Yes.
And perhaps I'm trying to see if I have that here. Some of the issues that came up during your research, some of the biggest issues that the residents of Nairobi, and of course it has 17 constituencies altogether.
Yes.
What are some of the issues that they brought out as they want to be addressed?
Yeah, there is education, there is healthcare, talk about insecurity, talk about youth unemployment,
Right.
and then of course transport. Now the top issue,
Oh, in fact, we have the percentages here that transport topped the issues at 22%. Actually, security topped the issue. Sorry,
youth unemployment.
Youth unemployment. This is not in an
Yeah.
hierarchy of that percentage.
Yeah.
Youth employment is an issue that topped at 28%.
Correct.
Followed by security at 24% and transport at 22%. I guess traffic has a lot to do with that.
That is it.
Right.
Yeah, so there's so many young men in Nairobi don't have jobs, and our education system does not prepare them very well for well-paying, jobs. So if you don't go, let's say, past Form 4, you can only work in, let's say, construction site and all that. So again, this kind of situation positions Sonko to actually get votes from these guys because of the kind of, again, stance he pulls.
Right.
Look at the Sonko rescue team. Young men are employed there. Yes, Matatu, he's employed young men. So when you ask him, who do you think is going to get you a job? It's Sonko whose name comes to the mind.
All right.
That's a big problem. Again, transport. Someone takes, let's say you have your personal car. You stay outside in the outskirts of Nairobi, like Rongai. You'll take 2 hours to get home because of infrastructure that is very poor. We had floods the other day, guys died on the road. It's a serious problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And perhaps the issue of the youth, just speaking about, in fact, this is an issue that many viewers would actually want to raise because, we have polls coming every now and then, and there's this thing called margin of error. Maybe talk to us about that with regard to your research.
No.
To what extent is this actually reflective of, people's decisions right now?
Exactly. Now, the margin of error for our poll was 3.4%. Meaning if the difference between Sonko and Kidero is, let's say, 8, still Sonko, if you add Kidero 3.4% and you subtract 3.4% from Sonko,
Right.
it gets around the same place. So that is why when you say neck and neck, that's actually correct.
So at 3.4%.
Yes, if you subtract 3.4 from
All right.
Sonko and then you add that to Kidero, they'll be, I
Right.
think, around that high. So
All
when
right.
you say neck and neck, that is correct.
Okay.
So the margin of error allows you to have some room for mistakes. And but what we did, because we have to avoid again just releasing figures for the sake of figures,
Right.
you have to like go to the ground and avoid mistakes. Kenya has a problem with opinion polling because of tribe. If you go to a place like Kibera or you go to Mukuru and you talk to people from one tribe,
Right.
you'll actually find 100% support for a particular candidate. That won't give you the kind of realistic figures you need.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Speaking to Abel Onchari, Director of the Center for African Progress, just giving us that latest poll, showing us what is expected if we were to go into elections right now, what kind of trends you can expect in the county of Nairobi. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having
Now,
me.
Nakuru government has now banned any anti-IEBC demonstrations in the county, terming them as a recipe for chaos and political anarchy. Issuing the order, Nakuru Governor Kinuthia Mbugua lashed out at the court leadership, accusing them of trying to topple the country using the unpopular demos. He wondered why the leaders had called for fresh protests on Monday and Thursday, yet the government had caved in and agreed to have dialogue. Right, we'll have that story a bit later on. Let's move on. And the Council of Governors has joined the opposition to push for the exit of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commissioners, Governors Isaac Ruto and Wycliffe Oparanya and Sospita Ojamong said that IEBC commissioners must quit before the next polls. Governor Ruto affirmed that IEBC has integrity issues, claiming the commission engages in electoral malpractices. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony of Kakamega County Teaching and Referral Hospital in Kakamega, the governors say they support full reforms on the electoral system in the country to ensure free, fair and credible elections during the 2017 general elections.
Na ili tuwe na
Right, we apologize for that technical hitch. Now, Kenyans have been urged to exercise peace and tolerance during this holy month of Ramadan as a sign of solidarity with their Muslim brothers and sisters. Now, Mwangi Kiunjuri, the Cabinet Secretary for Devolution, made this appeal during the annual flag-off of food items donated by the League of Arab States for the less fortunate members of the Muslim community at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Also present at this event was Ambassador Amina Mohammed and the representatives of the League of Arab States. Right, we want to take a short break now. We appear to have a technical problem. We'll be back shortly with more news. Don't go too far. Well, welcome back and thank you for staying with us. You're watching Weekend at 1. Now, Nakuru government has now banned any anti-IEBC demonstrations in the county, terming them as a recipe for chaos and political anarchy. Issuing an order, Nakuru Governor Kinuthia Mbugua lashed out at the court leadership, accusing them of trying to topple the country using the unpopular demos. He wondered why the leaders had called for fresh protests on Monday and Thursday, yet the government had caved in and agreed to have dialogue.
Hatuwezi nyamaza. After toiling for 13 years, kitu kama hii tuione kwa TV, being banned by lazy person, and just come and put it on fire. We can never allow. We can never allow. And that is now where we come in as leaders. That kind of politics can never take Kenya anywhere. Anywhere. And particularly demonstrations led by people who have no mandate from the people. Who among those leaders was elected by the people and given the mandate to lead this country? Is there any of them? No. They are not on job. That is why they can afford siku nzima to sit on the tarmac. You don't know why they are provoking police officers. They want to joke. Wanataka tupiwe hiyo tia gazili watumiwe mbio. They are doing exercise. They are not serious people. Sasa wao unakimbia, unaanguka, unafunjika. So this can only be done by idlers, and we cannot allow. And of course, you know their age. Hapo hakuna mtu wa 60. Iko above. Sasa when you allow yourself with all those years, unakibishwa na askari wa 18 years, unakibishana. That's even an insult to yourself. Ni mchezo aina gani sasa hiyo? What kind of a... Mimi nikiona nakibishwa na askari wa 18 years au resign. You know, Mheshimiwa Steven Kalonzo is in the wrong camp. He is in the wrong camp. He is in the wrong camp. And this Kalonzo, you know, is a respectable person. Respectable person. And I think he should just swallow his pride and just the way he has done to say he will join Uhuru Kenyatta in the trip. That's what he should do.
Now, the Council of Governors has joined the opposition to push for the exit of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission commissioners. Governors Isaac Ruto and Wycliffe Oparanya and Sospita Ojamong say that IBC commissioners must quit before the next polls. Governor Ruto affirmed that IBC has integrity issues, claiming the commission engages in electoral malpractices. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony of Kakamega County Teaching and Referral Hospital in Kakamega, the governors said they support the full reforms on the electoral system in the country to ensure free, fair and credible elections during the 2017 general elections.
Na amani lazima tutendee kila moja haki. Lazima hata wakati wa uchaguzi kila mtu ana haki ya kupiga kura na kura yake iwe protected. Ama namna gani? Ndio mimi naunga mkono marekebisho ya IBC.
Wanaongea ndio kwa sababu mimi naungana na wale. Wewe unasema Bwana Ruto, wewe unasema tufanye marekebisho kwa IBC. Sisi hapa Kakamega tunasema IBC iende. Hakuna mambo ya marekebisho.
Now, Kenyans have been urged to exercise peace and tolerance during this holy month of Ramadan as a sign of solidarity with their Muslim brothers and sisters. Mwangi Kiunjuri, the Cabinet Secretary for Devolution, made this appeal during the annual flag-off of food items donated by the League of Arab States for the less fortunate members of the Muslim community at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Also present at this event was Ambassador Amina Mohammed and the representatives of the League of Arab States.
All religions come together, all Kenyans and leaders of this country. I also want to join other leaders, Muslim leaders. Their call that during this holy month of Ramadan, we try as much as possible to avoid any action, all activities that can disturb peace in the country.
Well, it is from that heroic send-off of Muhammad Ali that we knock out today's edition of Weekend at One. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sharon Momanyi. Good afternoon.